Welcome to Alpha 8. I think it's 8. I've lost track. Anyway, cutting to the chase, I am joined here by my lovely co-host, Seth, the Radiant Blade Master Slykehouse. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, buddy? I'm doing great. I feel good. I feel I feel energized. Tomorrow's my birthday, so
Ooh.
I have that day off, so I feel pretty good about that. But I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing well. I'm excited. I, of
Yeah.
course, am Pedro, the forgotten member of Ouroboros, Carrasquillo. And you are joining us here for Alpha Nerds. It's been a little bit. Last week we didn't record. Sometimes life gets in the way, but that's all right. We're
Yeah.
back. We're here, and we're here in a world where Game of Thrones is back. And
It's
have you
wild.
have you seen House of Dragon yet?
I have. Me and Caitlin are both big Thrones fans,
Yes.
and we binged all of Game of Thrones. She'd never seen it before, so me and her binged it coming into House of Dragons, and she loved it up until the end. Like
Which that's
the
normal.
rest of us. Yes.
Now, have you been
Um,
keeping tradition of you gather the family to watch Game of Thrones on Sunday?
no, the family is separated. So, that's deeply unfortunate.
Yes. So no Berto, no Watson.
No, no
That that,
Berto, no
that
Watson.
hurts. That
Yeah,
hurts.
I do still see Watson weekly. We have a game night weekly that we
That's
get together
cute.
for.
That's
Yeah,
the welcome to adulthood. Scheduled
yeah,
game
no,
nights.
yeah. We get together and we play this game called Red Dragon Inn. It's a really fun board game,
Okay.
and like tomorrow we're having a fire, so that's fun.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
the family's still together, and we just saw Berto a couple weeks ago. We all went to see the new Dragon Ball Z movie, like I told you.
Yeah, I need to
So
see that. Now, all right, without spoiling it too much cuz I think I just got spoiled. Maybe I didn't. Uh, Are there any characters, let's say from a famous Namek saga that reappear besides Piccolo?
um, I
All right,
don't
is
think so.
Frieza in it? Like,
Oh no,
okay,
no, no,
all right,
no.
okay, then we're good. We're good because I
What
saw.
you saw was from the manga that came out. That's a little bit of nonsense coming out
Yeah,
here.
because
Okay, we're just changing colors at this point.
I was just scrolling YouTube, just kind of while I was waiting on you, scrolling YouTube and like checking out like who I'm still subscribed to, which is I think I recommend you check who you're still subscribed to on YouTube. It's really funny how like you haven't watched a channel probably for like 10 years, like whoa.
Oh yeah, like
But
who is this?
then I came across Black Freeze. I'm like, hold up, did I just get fucking got? Like, did somebody just get me and ruin DBZ? So I'm really excited to hear that's not a thing.
Nope,
Um,
it is a
so
thing in the manga that
yeah,
that
but
that
not a
just happened.
yeah, but I don't care about manga. No offense.
I'm
uh,
hoping they change the name because
yeah.
it's just getting ridiculous. It's like so stupid.
So speaking of House of Dragon, I really love it. I have my girlfriend watching House of Dragon with me, so the way I'm gonna break her into Game of Thrones is we're gonna watch House of Dragon and then we're gonna watch Game of Thrones
Mm,
because we're gonna go just prequel and then you're gonna watch the main series. So
I
I
see.
want to I want to I want to see how that helps her get the story. So far, we're really into it. First two episodes
Really,
are great. I
you really
enjoyed
you're.
them.
I mean, I think they're
Like they're
fine.
not like they're not top tier, but like maybe I just might be excited to have Game of Thrones back. Like I definitely have a couple gripes.
Well, like I don't have any gripes, but like I think me and Caitlin both agree that we're watching it and like we're not really sure what the hook is. Like I feel like if you came into this and you weren't already a Game of Thrones fan,
Hmm.
you'd probably be like, okay, so who gives a shit about any of this, you know?
Yeah,
But if you're coming into it already a Game of Thrones fan, I think there's a lot that you can like because you know what's going to end up becoming
yeah.
from all this.
Well,
But
I do like in the first episode they get some shit right out of the way. They're like, hey, by the way, this prophecy, this happens. Like they address it. I like that they address
yeah,
the elephant in the room. What I
Yeah.
didn't like here's where one of my gripes is that intro.
Oh, really?
I just thought like yes, I understand it's a Game of Thrones show, like I get it, but like did we need to go back to that? Like did we need to like I thought we kind of phoned it in a little bit with that intro. I thought
Oh, see, I liked it. I thought it was a nice callback. It felt right. I was like,
really it
oh
felt
wow,
right.
yeah. To me, it felt right. I was like, we're back, baby. We're back. What I don't like is I thought the Game of Thrones, like the video that played in the intro, I thought that was better. When it was just going down the blood of like the family tree of the Targaryens, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care about this. This is stupid. Who cares?
Yeah. So really enjoying that. But and we've been gathering some local friends here, so it's a big get together every Sunday.
Oh,
So
I
now we
see. You've moved on.
no, I
That's
can
great to
never
hear.
move on. But
Hurts.
yeah, so we gather some friends, and they get together, watch some Game of Thrones, and then Hard Knocks, my favorite like NFL shows back. We're getting Lord of the Rings this week.
No, we're not.
We are though.
We're
Rings of
not.
Power. Rings of Power.
We're getting the Rings of Power. We're not getting Lord of the Rings, and you know that.
I am remaining optimistic. I expect to be disappointed, but I'm remaining
Good for you,
optimistic.
bud. Good for you, because I feel like it's going to be a complete travesty.
So if you come on this show next week and say it's a banger, what's the penalty?
I'll take a whiskey shot on the show.
Ooh. So to put context, I don't know when's the last time whiskey's touched your lips, but I
Not since
recently
then.
I recently forgave whiskey, but like not straight whiskey. I can't do straight whiskey. I can do a whiskey sour, but
Yeah.
straight whiskey, I still feel like I'm gonna be physically ill.
Every time whiskey touches my lips, I feel like my body's going to regurgitate. Like, I can't take it.
Yeah, had
And
we
I have,
known what we know now.
I don't know if you can see it on camera, I have over here
Yeah, I see
a
it.
bottle of whiskey on the top shelf. That is Japanese whiskey that Watson got me for my birthday 2 years ago. It is the most disgusting substance I've ever tasted in my whole life. Watson's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Japanese whiskey. Let me try it." And it is the hardest whiskey I've ever had. Like it
Oh.
hurts to drink. It's rough.
So I feel like there needs to be a study on this because like, is it possible to really just break your ability to drink whiskey? Like, is that a possible thing? Like to be just broken?
It has to, because dude, I mean, what is that? Oh, God, stupid cat. Um, I was a big whiskey drinker. I was an avid whiskey drinker, and that weekend of just Watson just forcing terrible whiskey on us broke me. I don't know why he did that.
Yeah,
And then he wouldn't stop. He like kept trying to like peer pressure us into drinking whiskey. We're like, no, we don't want this anymore, Watson. Like we're done. It's over.
yeah. And since that day, I anytime I see a bottle of whiskey, I get a little paranoid.
Yeah.
But when I like a good whiskey sour, but that's because I make them so that I don't really taste the whiskey. Because if I taste the whiskey, then I get I get a little sick. I'm like, wait.
Although I suppose we did have it coming when we got him a backpack full of Fireball for Christmas, or you got him a backpack full of
I
Fireball
did
for
get him a
Christmas.
backpack full of Fireball for Christmas.
Yeah, and you're like, drink it.
Yes. So, oh man, that PAX. I miss PAX. I miss it.
Yep.
That was one of our. That was like probably one of the best trips I've ever been on, where we had that legitimately hide a bottle of whiskey on somebody because he wouldn't stop drinking. Like, all right, we're done with this. No
It
more.
was it was a legendary weekend. I will say that one of the
Yes.
most legendary weekends of my life, and I want to go back. I want to get the family back together. And I think I could get you and Robert, but I don't think I could get Watson away for a weekend anymore. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, he started a
Um,
family like an
yeah,
asshole. What a dick.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, good times, good times. So, moving on, you beat Trails of Cold Steel. Now we're going to be doing a separate Trails of Cold Steel podcast because I feel like
Hmm.
that entire arc just needs a dedicated show. But
Yes.
please give me your thoughts, your rough thoughts.
Um, it's hard to just give rough thoughts on my Trails of Cold Steel 4 because I don't think my opinion on the series has changed at all since the first game.
Okay.
Because I think there is a great game there with great mechanics and great gameplay. and there's a great story with an awesome, well, an okay cast,
An okay
and
cast.
um, some really great characters. But it's a series that is extremely bloated, and I think these 4 games could have reasonably been cut down to 2 or 3 games, and you would have had a much better streamlined experience. I just can't get over how bloated they are. I mean, legitimately, the final dungeons of these games last like 15 to 20 hours. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why anyone thought that was a good idea. And I told you before the show, I did something that you're going to be disappointed in with Trails of Cold Steel 4, but I came into that final dungeon and I realized I was like, I'm like not even getting hit. I'm not even like, I'd become so powerful in the game at that point. That I'm like, I'm not even getting hit. So I dropped the game to very easy and
Oh
I hit the
wow.
high speed and I just ran past every single enemy in the final dungeon.
That's that's a pretty big scumbag move, but I respect you for it.
But I'm like, I just want this to be over. Like, I don't care about these battles. I don't care about any of this. I just want to know how the story concludes. And it still took me, even at very easy and at high speed. It still took me over 7 hours to go from the beginning of the final dungeon to the end of the game. And then in Trails of Cold Steel 4, when you beat the final boss, they give you the bad ending,
Yeah.
right? And then you have to reload
Gotta
and beat another boss
gotta run it
to
back.
to get the true ending. I'm like, God, what a Kaseki thing to do. Like, it never ends. These games seemingly never end until they do.
Yeah.
But then like I still feel like I need to keep going. Like I bought Tales of Reverie today and put the English patch on it and started Trails into Reverie. And I'm like, what am I doing? I obviously like these games because I feel the constant urge to continue, but I have almost nothing nice to say about them. And I don't understand what is
I
happening
have
in my
almost nothing nice to say about them. See, when I saw you Snapchatted me that Trails in Reveille, I'm like, oh, that motherfucker. Uh,
life.
but because I really want to play it, but I feel like I'm too committed on PS4, like to switch consoles, and I feel
Mm,
like PlayStation, because I don't know if they're like going to give you any bonuses like they did in the other games, but I'm like, well, I've had this entire series on one platform. I
mhm,
can't just up and switch to another platform because I don't know if you know this. I own 2 copies of Trails of Cold Steel 3. I own I own the PS4 version. Then I bought it for Switch because I thought it'd be cool when I was like going back and forth between my place and my girlfriend's place before we moved in together. I was
mhm.
like, oh, I'll get a Switch. This makes sense. And then I just felt the urge. I'm like, wait, this isn't on my PlayStation. I can't. So I just
I own
took a $60 L there.
I own 2 copies of Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2 copies of Trails of Cold Steel 3, 2, 1 copy of Trails of Cold Steel 3, and 2 copies of Trails of Cold Steel 4.
Yeah. Oh, you still own your
So,
PS3 versions of Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, don't
yeah, because they're the collector's editions.
you? Yeah, I got rid of those. I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. Out. Not there's too
Um,
much trails in the house. Got to get rid of them.
yeah, I mean it's a interesting series, and it's weird because the general consensus is that the Cold Steel quadology is like the worst of the series of the
What?
Trails series.
That's
Yeah,
insanity.
yeah. If you go to like the message boards and whatnot, like the Trails of Cold Steel games are like not highly regarded. If you watch like YouTubers ranking their favorite Trails games,
It's always
the Trails
trails
of
in the
Cold,
fucking sky.
yeah,
But
and then and
I
then
feel like that's like
the
the hipster
crossbow art.
opinion.
I don't know. I haven't played them, so
You don't have another 300 hours for the Trails in the Sky trilogy. You got another
I wish I could
300 in
say
you.
I didn't, but I bought them as well on Steam.
Oh man. So that means we're both gonna have to run through them when we have the emotional energy to do so.
Yeah. So I don't know where I'm at right now though because like I said I feel like a massive urge to continue playing Trails and to just jump right into Reverie because I heard it's like a very streamlined like
Yeah.
boom 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 experience, and I think I would really enjoy my experience with Trails a lot more if they didn't put so much emphasis on the side content because the side content is really what takes you so long, and it's optional. But then they like give you grades and shit
Don't grade
afterwards.
me. Don't do
You,
that.
you know they give you the grades and the points, and like I'm like, ugh, why you gotta do this? Like, just if you made it truly optional, you wouldn't grade me. But because you're
Right.
grading me, it feels like I have to do everything in the game.
Yeah. When I beat Trails of Cold Steel 4, I beat it, enjoyed it, put it down, and then like 6 months later, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna platinum this."
Oh
I get,
god,
and then I started the game on very hard, like the hardest difficulty, and I was like, I got to the first boss. I'm like, I can't do this. No, I can't. I just like when I realized the time sink I was about to just put in again, because I think I
yeah.
clocked in at like 115 hours or something like that,
Oh my
and I'm
god.
like this. I'm like I can't. I cannot put another 100 plus into this game. I need to move on. So it's just such a time sink. But I love the Trail series a ton. I'm not a big fan of the first game, as we both are well aware. I think neither of us are huge Trails of Cold Steel 1 fans. But I
Right.
felt like from Trails of Cold Steel 2, 3, and 4, it was a good ride. I enjoyed the majority of it. I thought there was some campy like shenanigan stuff, but overall, it was like it checked all my boxes. You got like RPG elements, you got some fucking mechs, you got you got likable characters, fun boss fights. I do think it overstays its welcome a little bit in 3 and 4, mostly 4, because when you get like the ensemble cast, and when I was starting to feel like it was a bit like a bit of Suikoden vibes, with like, there's just too many fucking party
Yeah,
members. Like, I can't deal with this.
there
And then
really
the
is.
final
It's too
dungeons
much.
where you break up those parties, and they do it to you because, like, if you don't have everyone with the best equipment, you're gonna kind of struggle a little bit. But
Yep.
unless, because there are certain characters you don't use. But one of my favorite characters that I discovered to use, who's a stud, who I didn't actually like as a character, was Duvally. Once I put Duvally into the party, I was like, holy shit. She's like
Really?
she's like stupidly fast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
You can
she
make
gets like a
Jubilee super
fucking Mack
fast.
truck. It's insane.
My my biggest hitter, I ended up making Yuna because when you upgrade her brave
Oh, dude,
orders,
she's a fucking beast.
she like just smashes through enemies, and she can break them usually in like a
Yeah.
couple turns. So
Ash is I think his name's Ash. The guy with the scythe. Is his name Ash? I think it's
yeah,
like Ash.
yeah,
He hits like a Mack truck too. Like, he's like really
yeah,
strong. So I thought they did a really good job making the other class 7 really good. I like them a little bit more than I
yeah.
like the
The
original
the
class
second
7.
the second class 7 I think is leagues better than the first.
Yeah.
Um, but they make you go through all of them, and then I ended up romancing Sarah at the end because I was
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
she's
Team Valestine, duh. Who
yeah,
isn't in
yeah,
the
she's the only one that really I was like, all the like the original class 7 is just so not interesting by the end of the game because
Yeah,
like
you
they
got
didn't, none of them did anything cool except for Fee.
right. And
Fee's
then
like,
if
oh
you
yeah,
but if you
I'm
romance Fee, you're like a fucking Chester the Molester. Like, she's like fucking
yeah. Well,
10.
she's 18 in the final game, but
Yeah. I heard she's in the new
um,
arc.
she is, yeah, and
Yeah.
so is that Ren girl. She's one of the main cast. She's
Yeah.
going to high school with the main cast, so I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Hmm. Enjoyed it. So we'll definitely keep tuned for the Trails cast for that. I'm really excited to do that. I hope our guest can join us for that, because it'd be nice to have a third opinion. Big Falcom guy. So
Yep.
stay tuned for that. Uh, what else have you been playing? Just Trails, or
Nothing. I haven't been playing anything else, dude. I have spent the last 2 weeks just diving so hard into trails that I actually started to feel bad because Caitlin be sitting here like watching TV, and for like every single second I had, I was just jumping into trails.
yeah,
Um, because I'm
she's a
like, I
keeper for
have
that.
to finish
That
this.
that's
Yeah,
that's that's a supportive partner right there.
yeah,
She knows, like, listen, he's just in there. Just let him get it out. Let him bang it out. He'll be
yep.
around.
And I'm looking for a palate cleanser. Something that's not a heavy RPG. So I'm thinking maybe Yakuza.
Ooh,
Maybe I'll
yeah.
jump into Final Fantasy again, something like that. I don't know. I got to figure something out.
You
So
ever notice when you beat a game, like, you just go through this like depression phase where you can't get into anything else? You're just like, I don't know. Like, I'm like that with
yeah,
games. So like when I beat Cyberpunk, I went like 4 or 5 weeks where I just like didn't really play anything. Like it was just like it was like postpartum depression. It was like it was terrible.
Yeah.
And
Um, I don't feel that with Trails of Cold Steel 4. I think mainly because I know there's another game and like with an infinite amount of time I can spend with that series if I want to. And also I think because it overstayed its welcome so much that I was begging for it to be over.
yeah,
Um, so I really don't feel that. What I really want is like a quick palate cleanser game, something casual that I can play. And I was thinking about jumping to the East
yeah,
9.
buddy. I didn't. Why don't you
Seeing
jump
how
into
I
East
feel about
Eight?
that.
East Eight is supposed to be like the fucking the goat tier one.
Um, because I have it on PS4 and I wanted to play it on PC, and I was like, well, why would I get Ys 8 when I can get Ys 9 and it probably plays better? So I don't know.
Mm, that's a hot take. That's interesting. East Nine is good though. But I've heard nothing but really really good things about East Eight, and I've played like maybe 5 hours of East Eight, and I enjoyed it. It's East, but
Hmm.
and the soundtrack of for some reason East games and Trails games are like this, but specifically East games, their soundtracks are ridiculous.
Well, so I think East does it a lot better than Trails because what I noticed with Trails is the soundtracks are great, but they use the wrong songs at the wrong times. Like there's like a really hype scene happening, right? And they'll be playing like the same background music they've been playing for the last 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, this would be the when you would want to switch it up. But they don't. But they don't. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what's going
yeah,
on.
but the East series, man, they just like have banger soundtracks. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that composer's still at Falcom. For like, I don't get like how he has gotten picked up by someone somewhere else, or maybe they're just pay. That's why their engines are terrible because they pay this guy like fucking all their money to
Yeah.
stay. Like I don't understand. But he like whatever that composer, that composing team, like they produce some of the best soundtracks I have ever heard in video games, and that's insane. It's insane
But I
at
have
Falcom.
um I have 9 locked and loaded.
Nice.
It's installed, so I think I might jump into that tonight. Actually.
Okay, a little East Nine. I ain't mad at you. I like a little East
Yeah.
Nine. Little
Yeah.
Monstrum Nox, I believe that's the title.
With Adol,
Yeah. Didn't I give you a copy of East Nine?
you did. Yeah.
So why the fuck did you buy it on PC? What is wrong with you?
I don't know actually.
that,
I haven't looked at my PS4 library in forever.
that
And I
like
just I just realized that you actually had given me a copy of East 9, and I'm like, now I want to kill myself. I can probably refund it on
yeah,
Steam
because you
actually
haven't
because I
played it for
haven't
four
started
hours.
it.
But like, yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
like
haven't
sitting
started
here.
it.
You said it. I'm like, I could have sworn I gave that motherfucker a copy of
You
East.
did, you did. I just realized that. I'm like, son of a bitch. I haven't
it's
played my PS4 in so long.
it's your aversion to PS4. That's what it was. You're like, oh, I don't want to play this.
Yeah, but I've
Oh
but I've
man.
been thinking about it, Pedro, and I think it's time. I think it's time. It's time
Okay.
for a PS5. I'm there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll get into that.
Okay.
I've been playing the ever living shit out of Ghost of Tsushima,
I
and
like
I
to hear it.
I don't know when I'm gonna stop. I can't stop. It's like I just got to like the second island,
Mm-hmm.
or the second part of the island. I'm not really sure how the map's laid out, but I did almost every single possible side quest on that first area to like fill up the map. And I found all the items, did all the shrines, found all the fox dens, all the haiku, all the bamboo cutting. I am so deeply into that game that I don't really want to play anything else. There's nothing else that
Nice.
is scratching the itch. I'm getting a little nervous because like I hope to be done with it by the end of October, but um, mind you, I started this game in the beginning of August. So if like I get a solid 2 months just balls deep in this game, because I need to be ready for God of War. Have to be ready for God of War.
Yeah.
And I'm in day one because God of War comes out on a 3-day weekend. Got to bang it out. But yeah, no, Ghost of Tsushima might be the perfect game. Like for me, it's perfect. I mean, obviously there's some issues for sure, but like as far as like a game that is tailor made for someone of my tastes, that game is literally perfect. I love like
Yeah.
I love the weapons. I love the lore. I love the presentation. I love I love and hate like sometimes like the standoffs are a little dumb sometimes where like you get into
Hmm.
standoffs over and over and like so that gets a little silly. But like when you have the boss fights, that's where it's at. Where you have that, yeah, like you have that stare down, then he like unsheaths his katana. I'm like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
buddy, it's fucking on.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm playing on the hardest difficulty because I don't know how you play that game on anything other than that. It's just
You feel
it's
like you got to be a man.
yeah, it's just too much fun. Like it's just too much fun to be like, okay, let's go, buddy, let's clash some fucking swords here. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm living my real life Batosai Roni Kenshin dream here, and it's great. It's
Batosai,
great.
the
I'm dressed as a
manslayer.
Ronin. I got my straw hat on. I fucking yeah, I'm a wandering samurai,
That's
and
what I
I
like to
couldn't
hear.
be any happier.
The
So
one complaint I have about Ghost of Tsushima is that the game punishes you, in my opinion, punishes you for going stealthy.
yeah, it's like you're not honorable.
But I don't see how you're supposed to take down an entire compound by not being stealthy in that game. Like, am I really supposed to just charge in and just like start counterattacking 40 different guys at the same time? I don't
Yes,
really.
and you can do it. And basically, with the standoff mode, you can kill like 4 or 5 guys in that right away. Just because if you're on the harder difficulties, more guys come at you, so you
Right.
can literally cut down like 4 or 5 dudes ASAP, and then try your luck with the rest. But yeah, I agree. I don't. I try to be stealthy, some not all the time, but if it behooves me. So if I'm like I climb a roof and I see a guy, he's getting an arrow in the head. Like he's just
Yeah.
getting shot in the head with an arrow. Like it's just like why am I gonna jump off this roof and fucking fuck him? He invaded us.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm interested to
Stupid
see where the
Mongol.
story goes because I just literally rescued his uncle. So and he keeps dropping hints like we need to be honorable like a samurai. We need to win this island back like samurai. So I feel like there's gonna be some conflict there. I'm excited to see where
Right.
the story goes. Our buddy Ryuzo betrayed us, which I will have his head. It's fine. Um, so
I
it's
love to
cool.
hear it.
Yeah, so I'm
I'm glad
really,
you're having
really
fun, bud.
enjoying that. So I bring up the topic of Ghost of Tsushima because obviously it's set in like the Edo period of Japan,
Right.
and I think we can safely say we like this game unleashed an untapped market, an untapped genre, an untapped, I guess, mythos where I'm not sure how we haven't gotten here before. So, because before the only game that was like in that time period type stuff was maybe Dynasty Warriors and like what Tenchu. Other than that,
Yeah.
we never really got any sort of, or maybe Ninja Gaiden in a way, but we never really got any, Japanese, based, not based, but like Japanese centric games that, stories of your samurai, like very few and far, and like sometimes they weren't great. A shout out to Animusha. I feel like, we got to give that some love. But now I'm starting to see trailers for games set in like medieval China,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, don't fuck with me. Because like don't do this to me because I'm gonna play the shit out of them because like that's like one of my favorite time periods to read about. I loved reading about it as a kid. As a
Oh
kid
yeah.
growing up until I developed some tastes in game. I was a big Dynasty Warriors guy and loved the shit out of those games. So that's why I'm so excited for the the Dark Souls type Dynasty Warrior game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
so pumped for that. I think that might be the one for me. That might be the one
Oh damn.
because I,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
I suck at these Souls games, but like they're so fun.
it's not for lack of trying though, right? Like
Right.
we've been asking Ubisoft to make a Japanese Assassin's Creed game for forever, and they were like, "Oh, that doesn't sound very fun." Well, it turns out like the people know what they want, so you know
Yeah, Ghost of
you probably
Tsushima
should
comes
have
down.
jumped
They're
on that
like,
opportunity
oh.
when yeah. You gotta imagine when Ubisoft saw how successful Ghost of Tsushima was, they were probably like, "Ah, damn it, we should have done this like 10 years ago."
You're right, and they would have fucking nailed the market on it. But
Yep.
it's funny because like they put out a Norse fucking Assassin's Creed, which was like right after God of War. We're like, oh, somebody noticed what's going on here.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, oh, people seem to like these things. Okay. I don't
Yeah,
know. Just as a bunch
I
of
can't.
clowns.
I love that we're in a world where we got like Norse mythology games now too, because like that's a fucking cool mythos. Like, how the
Oh yeah,
dude? How the fuck did that go so long untapped? Like how?
I don't know. Well, they tried a little bit in the early 2000s. Remember Two Human?
No.
You don't remember Two Human?
No, I suppressed that trauma out of my head. That game was
It was a
terrible.
terrible game. Every time you died, there was a 45-second Valkyrie animation that would play. It would just carry your character into the afterlife. It's terrible.
Yeah, but I just remember like how like Norse mythology is so fucking inherently cool,
Oh yeah.
and you know, like who doesn't want to fight Thor? Like who? Like come on, or the rest of the gods. So I'm excited for that. You know, the new God of War, obviously, but I'm just so happy I live in a world where Ghost of Tsushima exists. Like that game's so relaxing. I'm playing the PS5 version, so you know, nice buttery smooth frame
Oh
rate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. That's what you want.
it's such comfort food. And I just thought about it. I haven't even touched Legends yet. So like I have or Ishi Island, so I have like DLC to do. We're gonna be in there a while.
Me and you got to get into that Legends. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the Ghost of Tsushima a while. So
Yeah. We got to
yeah. So
jump into that. I got to find myself a PS5. That's all there is to it. I got like it's time.
are you gonna go disc or discless?
Ooh, I hadn't even considered that choice. I want to say discless, but like there's a part of me that just wants that disc drive, Like I want that.
Yeah, this is
I
probably
haven't
the last
bought
gen with one. That's probably the last one, buddy.
I haven't bought a disc-based game in fucking forever, but I just feel like it's not something I can pass up on. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I remember having that dilemma. I was like, man, do I want an all digital one? Like, am I gonna be that guy, or am I getting the disc version? I'm like, I gotta get the disc version because I like collector's editions and stuff. Like, so yeah, I would say if I were you, I'd get the disc version because, um, I this ties into something that's been going on with me. So I've I've reached this weird phase in life where now I was all digital. I was an all digital guy. I'm like, you know what? I like the digital
Hmm.
revolution. I like this. But then I started hearing stuff on podcasts and seeing some gaming news that they're just starting to remove shit from your library. Like, yeah, you can't play this anymore. Like stuff that you've
What?
paid for. Where like Ubisoft was going in and like disabling like Assassin's Creed Liberation out of people's like playlists and stuff. It was a thing
Why?
going on. Just it was like a licensing thing. Um,
Hmm.
but like that scares me. And then like now where I've been really getting into more movies and checking out like obscure films and sometimes like unless this is on a streaming service and like I don't know how long it's going to be on a streaming service, I feel like I need to amass a collection. And I told you this, pre podcast what my plan is. Um, that I need to start preserving some of the shit that I just really want to watch and keep and like enjoy because then I want to be able to
Hmm.
like go to my shelf. Hey, I love this movie. I have this movie. I own the physical version of this movie. Let's watch it. Versus, hey, let's watch this anime or movie. Oh wait, fuck, I don't have a Crunchyroll subscription. When it stops being free, or oh fuck, it's on this streaming service, or oh fuck, like I don't want to deal with that. Not saying I'm going to collect every movie or anime or anything like that, but the ones that I find interesting, like I want to have a library curated within reason. Within reason. And the way this hit me, I was in the basement surveying my game room, like just surveying it,
Hmm.
just staring, and it like hit me. It like hit me like a wave of like supernatural nostalgia. It was almost like Field of Dreams. Like if you build it, they will come. So like
Absolutely.
that's then I came upstairs. I go to my girlfriend. I go, hey, babe, we're buying a Laserdisc player. We're buying a Betamax player and a VHS, and we're gonna start collecting movies. I decreed it. I didn't even give her a chance to speak. It was a decree, an executive order.
You needed a gavel and smack it.
Yeah, so now I'm looking into laserdisc players and stuff like that. So I feel like
I
the
bet that's a hefty price, huh?
yeah, I noticed the barrier of entry is like $100. I think I
Okay,
can
that's
find
not
one
too
for
bad.
free. I think I can find one for free. It's
Oh, so
absolute
that's your quest is to find a
yeah,
free one.
yeah. Like
Okay,
I feel it's
okay.
obsolete tech. So now I'm gonna just now I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty. I'm gonna get into the dumps, get into the little flea markets, the
Hmm. The yard
antique
sales.
shops, yard sales.
Okay,
We're gonna do some grinding.
I
Um,
respect this quest.
yeah, and it like reactivated the collector in me, but like again within reason, because now I know way too much to fucking do stupid shit as a collector. Just I like so like with video games, I'm not sure if that's something I'll get back into right now. I've cooled off the video game collecting aspect of my life just because
Yeah.
I think it's just such fucking horse shit. Dude, it is, man. And I'll get into why here in a second. But as far as like collecting movies, like I think they're so cheap to collect still, and you know, you're gonna seek out movies that you really like. You're not like I'm not gonna be one to just collect certain sets of shit just to have it. Like I'm not gonna want something I
Right.
don't care about. But I definitely want to get all the Star Wars on Laserdisc and VHS. Like I want to have all those, preserve those. You know, Lord of the Rings, like stuff that like would resonate with me, or movies that I know were that are award winning movies that I've always wanted to watch. And then I want to get like again, this is like pipeline stuff down the road. I want to get one of those big hulking fucking CRT TVs like from like the mid '90s.
Hmm.
You know which ones I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and you know within reason, and put one in the basement and have just a retro movie theater set up right next to the retro game room. So you know I got visions here. It hit me
All
like a
right.
fucking vision, my friend.
I'm here for it, man. I fully support your quest.
Yes, but as with any quest, there of course are some fucking snakes in the grass,
Oh no.
and and I I find this fascinating that nobody knows this. So I thought I was being cool. I'm like, I'm gonna be smart. I'm gonna go on Goodwill.com, see what's going on here, see what I can
Hmm.
sleuth out this motherfucker, see if I
Hmm.
can find some deals. Because what the fuck, it's Goodwill. People just give them shit, right?
Hmm.
Did you know Goodwill is a for-profit company?
I did know that. Yep, I did.
Yeah. So imagine if you started a company where your cost of gathering inventory was zero.
Yep.
Free inventory, pure
Yep.
profit.
Yep.
Pure fucking profit.
And people think you're like a charity.
Yeah, people think you're the Salvation Army. So,
Yep.
like if you go on the Goodwill's website, you go to shop, they have auctions. They have Goodwill auctions.
Uh huh.
And I just was curious, so I saw electronics, like I saw a Laserdisc player going for like $50. I'm like, it's still a little. I can still get one for free. I feel like I can find one
Hmm.
for free. So I'm like, not gonna pull the trigger there. Then I saw they had video games. I'm like, oh no, get the fuck out of here. And they have it separated by like consoles, so you can look at specifically. You want to see a Dreamcast? Dreamcast. Sega CD? Boom. So I
Yep.
click on Sega CD, Sega guy, and then I see listed Popful Mail, $457 starting fucking bid. Starting
And
bid.
they got it. And they got it for free.
Yeah, somebody donated that. Some ass face donated this. And then I
Yep.
see under it Lunar Eternal Blue. Starting bid $315. I'm
And you
like,
know what? They pay their employees like $8 an hour
yeah, it's
today.
fucking asinine. It's
Yep.
fucking asinine. And uh, I that almost broke me. I'm like, how do these motherfuckers get away with this?
Yep.
And like it's like they think they're eBay. Like I used to think like going to, because how many retro collector? Maybe all of them do. I don't know because I just now kind of like I always knew about it, but I just never really sleuthed it for myself. But how many guys really think? All right, you know what? Instead of going to eBay, I'm gonna go to the Goodwill auction and we're gonna bid this shit up. Like I don't get it. It
Hmm.
blows my fucking mind.
Yep.
Blows my goddamn mind. So on this podcast, and again, the retro collecting community is the underbelly of gaming. The under fucking, it's like the fucking slums, man. Where like it's just the scummiest fucking gatekeeping assholes. And I can't. Where now you go on a site, that Goodwill, you wouldn't think it's anything crazy that people are paying hundreds of dollars, and they're just
Hmm.
making pure profit. These motherfuckers are just making pure profit.
Yep. Yep. No, I completely understand what you're talking about. The Goodwill is a scummy company, and like you said, they get by being like, oh, this is the Blue Salvation Army, right? Their name is the Goodwill, right?
Yeah.
It's the Goodwill. No, it's not. It's the greedy asshole store is what it is, because they get all their stock for free and they sell it. It doesn't matter if they're selling it cheap; they're selling tons of it,
Uh-huh.
and 100% profit. It's insane. Yeah, no, I'm completely on board.
Yeah, and it just like, it just depresses the shit out of me. So, yeah, so those of you who are, into the collecting scene, if you're listening to this, stay the fuck away from Goodwill auctions. Don't you fucking do it. I forbid it. I forbid it. You got to stay away from the Goodwill auctions because holy fuck, man! Like I can't imagine paying. Like I gave $300 to the Goodwill. No, 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 no.
Not
Can't do
happening.
it.
Huh?
So
Nope.
also on the retro collecting front, I've noticed this trend. So what if I told you, you have a sealed game, and then you could send it into a company that's going to grade your seal and give it a number, and
Hmm.
then you can put it on auction, and it goes for an exorbitant amount of money.
Oh yeah.
So I'm talking about like sealed Mario 3 is going for $175,000.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yep.
people having meltdowns because that's a 30% drop from what it went for a month before.
Oh yeah.
Like,
This
so
is, by the way, this is every collecting community though. The grading system is every collecting community thing.
I thought it was just
People don't.
comics.
No. People don't want an original Charizard, Pedro. People want an original graded Charizard. That's what Jake Paul wears around his neck when he walks into the ring. One of the original first print graded Charizards. That's like a 9 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That is where the money is. People don't realize that you can get a first edition Charizard, for a reasonable price. It's the graded ones, the
So
PSAs.
can I? And this is where we have to ask like real questions here, because like you and I are pretty avid gamers, right? We're not made of money.
Hmm.
We're not. We're
Hmm.
into this stuff. We're not made of money. I can't afford 175 grand to just piss away on an item.
Right.
Where are these fucking guys getting this money? How do these people have this much money to just fucking willy nilly drop on random shit like this?
I think there's very specific niches. Like you're gonna find that one Mario collector that his whole life's journey has been to finish the Mario collection, right? So like I did a podcast with a guy once. His name was Dan Gavazin, and he did a Spider-Man podcast with a guy called Mark Giannacchio, and Mark Giannacchio had the Chasing Amazing blog, and his goal was to collect every single issue of Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Uh huh.
Well, Amazing Spider-Man #1 is like a fucking insanely expensive comic book. It's the first. It's not the first appearance of Spider-Man, but it's the first Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
So like you get down to like Amazing Spider-Man numbers 1 through 5, and all of a sudden you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, but you already have the rest of them. So like
Yeah.
you find a way to make it work that you need to get this for your fucking collection. So I think you find what happens is extremely small niches, and it's not like these things are selling every day. You're gonna have one of these sell, once a month. For instance, did you know that what's the National Treasure actor? What's his name?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage had one of the original appearances of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It was graded. It was worth like millions of dollars. He had eventually sold that off, but it's not like the first appearance of Superman sells multiple times a day. It's like once in every 5 to 10 years type of thing it
Yeah.
sells. So it's not like that person that graded that Mario 3 is expecting it to sell tomorrow. It's like, no, when someone wants this, when the right person wants this, they'll come knocking. That's kind of I think the idea.
I If I ever spent that type of money, that type of dough. Well, all right. Before I say this, what's the most you've ever spent on a game?
I don't know, man. Probably a couple $100, and I can't imagine. I can't even think about which one it would be, but it's probably been around $200. I would say.
Yeah. So I spent okay. So the max I spent one time, I spent $450 on Dot Hat Quarantine.
It's not worth it.
No, well, I had to because like I got into like you said, I had the first three,
Mm-hmm.
and like I need to complete the set, and
Mm-hmm.
a retail store had it on sale, and like the guy cut me a deal because he could have fucked me on it, but so like 450 at that time was reasonable. I don't know what it goes for
Mm-hmm.
now. It might be less, but at that time it was a reasonable price. So I like, you know what? I have the money. It's not going to burn a hole in my pocket. Let's pull the trigger. So I see how it can happen, but like now, if I came home and told my girlfriend was like, hey, spent like 7 grand on this game, I I could I think she'd be physically ill. I would be physically ill. It'd be bad because
Yeah.
I just can't imagine dropping these like high dollar amounts. And like, when did retro gaming get like a fucking high rollers club? Like, when did that happen?
Um, I don't know, man. It's happened slowly over the last decade. You know, like we saw Dot Hack Quarantine go from $60 and $80, right,
Yeah,
up to $120, up to $250,
yeah,
and it just kept going and going and going. We witnessed that happen. I remember one of my friends buying Dot Hack Quarantine for $80, and it's like it's just gonna keep going as these games become more and more rare as you know they start perishing and there's less of
yeah.
these games in the wild. It's I think
Hmm.
it's a natural path. What I do love though is that we've been able to stem the tide and that these games aren't just physical anymore. I laughed when Final Fantasy VII plummeted in price when the digital version came
It
out.
was
I
glorious.
loved that, dude, because until the digital version came out on PS3, the only way to play it was to spend an extremely high amount of money on Final Fantasy VII on the PS1.
Black Label, baby.
But that game is not rare. It's not rare
That was like
whatsoever.
really
People
popular.
just wanted it. Yeah, it's sold a ton of copies. Final Fantasy VII is one of the most common PS1 games. Probably it's just everywhere. But like I remember I had a complete recreation of the Buster Sword, and I
I
traded it
remember
for a
that.
Black Label copy of Final Fantasy
I
VII
remember
because
that.
they were worth the same amount. So it's like,
I remember when you told me that, and because I saw this sword, I'm like, oh god, why? Like, oh, you put that sword in the hands of a villain. I hope you know that. A
I did put
general
that
just
sword in there.
fucking villain. It's like you gave the Buster Sword to Sephiroth,
Yeah,
but
what an awful
really he's
person.
Genesis, who no one likes. But
Yeah,
um, like, oh god. But
but they were
so
worth the same amount at the time, and
yeah, I
then the
get it,
digital
man.
version came out.
Sometimes you just fucking at the time it makes sense, and then long term it's an L. Because could you
Yep.
imagine your apartment now with a Buster Sword in it?
I
Yes.
mean, reasonably, I could have one if I wanted it, but like, do a fucking 7 foot tall Buster Sword, like.
I think that's a necessary item. I approve purchase. I approve that acquisition. Requisition approved.
I
Um,
almost bought one on Etsy.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
I so bad like you remember when we were living together. I wanted to do this. I wanted to have a wall of swords, and everyone told me it was a bad idea. But I still want to have my fucking wall of swords, you assholes.
Do it.
Yeah,
Nothing stopping.
because you know who inspired me. My buddy Adam, who lives outside Philly. I went to his house, and I go to the basement. What the fuck does he have? He's got the wall of swords. I'm like, mother. You know when another man steals your idea.
It's the one thing I've always wanted.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
Wall
total dick.
swords.
And then he's got a wall of guns because he collects Nerf guns. So
Hmm.
he's got like the Gallowhorn. He's got Ace of Spades from Destiny 2. He's got
That's
the
pretty
battle
cool.
rifle. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'll admit that's pretty cool.
exactly. You know what they say, buddy. Sometimes you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I'm feeling pretty fucking villainous right now.
Although I did see they make these new 3D printers,
I need a 3D
and
printer. I feel like I would do
and
so
they
many things
3D
with it.
print on like a treadmill type system,
Oh
so
god.
you can 3D print really large items because it rolls down
Yeah.
and as it 3D prints, and I'm like, oh, I could do some damage with that. I could 3D print swords and armor, and like
Yeah.
I would be doing
Your
some
girlfriend's gonna
damage.
come home and there's gonna be like 7 katanas just printed, and
Yeah,
she's like, "What the fuck?"
I saw a dude on YouTube. He 3D printed a Master Sword, and he just had it.
Oh,
He had a perfect replica of the Master Sword then,
fucking
and I'm like,
fucking a.
oh, my
I would
god,
print
that's so
that. I would
cool.
print Jon Snow's sword. I see. I
Yep.
don't get me into this because I'm gonna go on Etsy and buy some swords. It's gonna be a fucking problem. Uh, so the last, not topic, but last thing we'll touch on. So in collecting, what do you feel is gonna be a hot system? Like, what system do you feel is gonna shoot up in price?
Um, the Dreamcast.
Oh,
I don't know. I haven't looked at it recently, but the Dreamcast is like a system that is fantastic, and it was way ahead of its time. And it does it. They had a vision with Dreamcast, and um, and they were just too early.
yeah.
But when
Eh,
looking back at it, you're like, they really had it nailed down. They knew
yeah.
exactly what they were gonna do.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Fat L not putting a DVD player in it, a little bit of an
yep.
oversight, but yeah, I agree. I could agree with that. See, for me, it's a tie because I feel like the Wii U is going to be one of those systems that shit's going to shoot up if it already hasn't because it's Nintendo. People fucking love the overpriced Nintendo items. And then the second one, I think PS3 stuff, like that generation, PS3, Xbox 360, like it's dirt cheap now, but that stuff's going to start shooting the fuck up in price. So be on the lookout for that because oh because you know anything that you grew up loving, right? Like so like you know how you and I are mostly PS2 PS1 PS2 PS3,
Right.
like that's kind of our wheelhouse, and then we were grown ass men for PS4. But like
Mm-hmm.
really those three console generations are like the ones we have the most nostalgia for. So now that people who are a little bit younger than us are now coming of age, have a little bit of extra scratch to buy some shit. Like now shit's gonna start going up, which I hate it. I hate
Mm-hmm.
that. I hate that like men have the same idea at the same fucking time. It drives me nuts. I don't know how we do that. It's like I don't know how we do that. I don't know how it happens. Just like how fucking Spider-Man games go up every time a new fucking movie comes out. It's infuriating. Like, like why do we all have the same thought? You know what? I'm gonna collect some Spider-Man games. I like Spider-Man. Fucking we're such idiots. Uh, so yeah, that I could talk about that for days. It's a fucking rabbit hole we don't need to go down. Oh man. So here's something else that I've been thinking about.
Okay.
You, why are we getting so many CG game trailers? Like, what the fuck?
I hate this. It's one of my biggest pet peeves of all time. Um, and I don't understand why publishers and developers don't understand this. If you give me a CG trailer with no gameplay in it whatsoever, you can fuck right off into the nearest oncoming traffic. Like,
Right.
I don't give a shit anymore. We get it. Your game's pretty. All games are pretty, okay? But I want to see what your gameplay is like. And this is not, these aren't movies, right? You
Right.
can't just give me a trailer and I can be like, oh yeah, I want to see that because it's the same experience. No, don't give me a CG trailer unless it's a property that we already know about and know how it plays. Like if you give me like a CG trailer for God of War 2, I'm cool with that. I don't care. I know exactly what I'm getting into with God of War 2, right? But if this was like your new IP and you give me a CG trailer, I immediately don't care
Yeah.
until I see gameplay. That is my golden rule, and I hate when companies do this. Oh, we have a new IP we're showing off, and it's like, okay, well, you just gave me a 2 minute short film. Thank you. What's your game
Yeah.
like? I, don't,
Yeah. I
I
don't
hate
like.
it.
I don't. Yeah. I don't understand, especially in 2022. Like, we don't need trailers. Like, I don't need a fucking CG trailer of whatever this is. Like, just either show me gameplay or don't announce the game. Like, there's
Yeah,
plenty of other fucking games for me to play and focus on, and I don't need to waste my fucking time. And be like, oh, look at this stupid CG trailer of a game that's coming out in 5 6 years. Like, just fucking show me something when you have something to present. Otherwise, like
like
you said, fuck off.
what was that vampire game they showed off at last E3? Do
The
you remember this?
Masquerade, Vampire the Masquerade, the second
Was it
one.
that is no? This was a new IP. I think
Uh,
it was shown off at the Xbox conference they had last year, and it was at the very end, and it was just a CG trailer of like some sort of vampire hunting game. And
that I don't know.
yeah, you definitely saw it, but you probably wiped it from your memory because it was just a CG trailer
Yeah, I hate
and
CG
it was
trailers,
a
dude.
generic like vampire hunting game.
Yeah. So that's one pet peeve. Here's the other pet peeve I have. Why are these no-name studios being given these big games to remake? So the KOTOR remake is a fucking mess now. Like I believe who
Yeah.
was on it? Aspire was a team. I believe is that the team.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're on that. And then I was watching some of the Gamescom stuff because I've been in like media blackout for video games because I kind of just like over it a little bit with some of the like the delays and the negativity. And then I saw like there's a remake being done for System Shock where I'm like,
Yes.
okay, like who's doing that? Like how don't I like who are these teams that are just being given important games in history because like System Shock, not that it's like a super popular game, but it's definitely like the spiritual prequel, if you would say, to Bioshock.
Bioshock. Yep.
So like I'm like I need to know more. Is Ken Levine involved? Like is you know who is shepherding this to make sure they don't fuck it up?
No one. There's your answer.
Yeah, and like I don't get it because like a company like Sony, right? I feel like
Hmm.
Sony does really good business about protecting their IP when they do a remake. Like I thought the
Definitely.
Shadow of Colossus remake was really well done. Demon Souls is really really well done. So I'm like they get it. But then how don't these other studios were like, "Hey, this IP that people really liked when they were kids, go remake this and please don't fuck it up." like I just feel like these teams are just like like I don't get how it happens because I don't get like if you're on the dev team, right? So let's say you and I are remaking KOTOR. I feel like I feel like we don't fuck that up.
I agree. I think if we're like the production managers, it gets done very well. Like we're like, okay, listen, we don't mess with the gameplay. We update the animations. We update the textures. We update maybe some of the text. Right,
Yeah,
make it flow a little better.
yeah,
But that's all it needs. This game is a timeless masterpiece. We're gonna
uh
bring it to the modern day,
yeah,
and that's all you need. Um, and to be fair, that might still be what they're doing, but the original team, whatever went wrong, we really don't know. They messed it up, and now it's going to Aspire. No, 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 not. It was originally at Aspire. It's now
yeah,
going to a bigger team.
yeah.
I can't remember the
But
name of them.
but like, and we've seen companies do this where like. I don't know how we fucking managed to do this every show, but Square, um, they remember they pulled CyberConnect off Final Fantasy VII remake. They're like, no, 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 no. We don't fuck this up. So
Yeah.
like they go, you guys are out. We'll take care of it. Like let's
Yep.
fucking the big boys handle this because
They were
like
they were they were originally trying though. They made a bad decision,
yeah.
and then they're like, well, this isn't working out.
So but I don't get like the inconsistencies with companies. Like some companies are like, fuck it, who cares, remake it, whatever. And then other companies, like I said, take hardline stances. Like no, we cannot fuck this game up. And or look another big example, Rockstar. How do you let a team just fuck up GTA, like porting the old GTA games? Like, how do you let a team just royally fuck that up?
Dude, we were just talking. I just did frame skip, and we were just talking about um, Bandai Namco and Gundam, and how we've never gotten a good Gundam game, and there's no reason for it because of how big that property is, especially in Japan. Right? They have huge
Yeah,
Gundam statues, but Bandai Namco has never released a quality Gundam game, and we're like, why wouldn't you just put your A team for one time on Gundam?
yeah.
Just one time, put your A
So
team on Gundam.
okay, so this is an interesting because I was thinking about. I don't know why I was also thinking about that. Um, if you could give that IP to any one studio, like yo, make a Gundam game, don't fuck it up. Who are you giving it to?
From Software.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
giving it to From Software because they did the Armored Core games, and I'm like, hey, you guys, I know you're busy doing your Souls like thing. Could we figure out your next game to be a Gundam game, a Gundam fighting game? And they're probably gonna say yeah, and they're probably gonna make it awesome. The other people I would consider doing would be like the people who did the Naruto games. You don't
So,
need deep mechanics for like a fun game, right? Like if you give me all the Gundams and you throw them in like a Naruto arena based setting, it's probably gonna be fucking awesome.
okay, so
You know,
From and CyberConnect.
yeah. But, but like, but I mean, and I know that sounds maybe kind of silly, but like CyberConnect's Naruto games were fun. They were
Yeah, they were
fun
good. They
for
were quality
they
games.
were
I'll give
ROM.
it to them.
Yeah. Um.
And they did the dot hack game. Shout out to CyberConnect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, CyberConnect has some gems in the rough, but you can do something sweet like that, dude. I don't understand how Bandai Namco has fucked it up.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay, so I will present two studios. So for me, the first one would be Team Ninja.
Okay.
I feel like they could do a good Gundam game. And then the other studio, because they've already adapted an anime into this style of game, the studio that does Yakuza. I can't. It's a Ryugo. I can't pronounce that shit. No offense. Not trying to be
Yeah, I
racist
forget.
or
I
anything.
forget how they.
It's Ryugo something something. But like, I think they do a really good job of building worlds and building fun, good gameplay. And I think since they did Fist of the North Star, like they can understand how to adapt an anime into something where they can make that world feel fun, campy, or they can make. I think they're a really talented studio because
Mhm.
I think they're really underrated. I feel like that team would not fuck that up, just because like I think they would understand the material. But I do like your From doing you letting From do it, but I would just caution against like, oh, let's make a Gundam game that's gonna kick you in the fucking nuts. Like you're just cruising along and oh shit, it's the fucking Death Scythe. What's up? Like
No,
maybe we were
I
having
would want
fun. Now
more
that's
like
over.
I would want more like an Armored Core experience for that. But yeah, I just think it's crazy. There's never been a good Gundam game. How crazy is that?
I
Considering
agree.
how huge Gundam is, I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
You would think so many Gundam fans growing up that we like some one game dev like you know what we got this.
You know what I think the issue is for certain properties? It's that people will buy whatever that property puts out, right? Like the Sword Art Online games have been terrible constantly, but they always sell really well because people will just consume anything that's Sword Art Online. The Dragon Ball games are another one. How many years did we get terrible Dragon Ball games after like Budokai 3?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, we were
it was
taking.
took forever. We got like crap like Battle of Z and Ultimate Tenkaichi and the
Yeah, those
Connect
games were
one, and
brutal.
yeah,
Well, I remember I bought a Dragon Ball Z game because like you know what I like Dragon Ball Z, but I hated the fighting games. Like I just never could get into them. There was always too much going on, too much to account for. Where I was a 2D fighting game guy, so like
yeah.
color me old school. But I remember the one year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into this. I'm in. Let's go. So I bought like Raging Blast.
Oh
Like
yeah,
this game is fucking awful, and then I was out.
and then you're done.
But I do like Fighter Z. That's probably like my favorite DBZ game,
Yeah, no, I
which
think
is a 2D fighter, ironically enough.
it's a great game. It is a great game. And then they made Kakarot, which is also a great game. I love
Yeah.
Kakarot.
See, my problem with it was, I liked it too, but my problem with it was, like, you keep telling me the same story.
Yes,
Like,
yes, that's true.
so and so if you've never seen Dragon Ball Z or are not familiar with it but want to get into it, I recommend the game. Chef's Kiss. Great stuff. You're gonna have a really good
Complete retelling. Yep,
yeah.
it's
You're gonna
great.
have a real good time in there. But if you're fucking 32 like me and grew up with the shit, how many times am I gonna fight Raditz? How many times? How many times am I gonna fucking have Piccolo shoot my stupid ass with fucking Goku? Like how many times? Hmm?
Yep, true.
How many times are we gonna blow up Namek? Hmm?
Yep,
How many times?
yep.
So and
I
that was
agree.
my problem. And it sucks because it's not fair to the game. It's not fair. I'm being wildly unfair, but it's true. And I'm right.
Yep, yep. You're right. Um, and then like even Xenoverse told an original story, but in the context of the original Dragon Ball Z timeline. So like your first fight is still Raditz. It's like,
Poor
oh,
fucking
okay.
Raditz, man.
Yeah.
How hasn't he gotten a movie where he comes back as like a Super Saiyan or something fun or something
Who
silly?
knows? Who knows? Oh,
Oh, so speaking of Dragon Ball Z, so my girlfriend,
mhm.
she has a tendency to go, "I'm just saying," and I just want to always correct her and be like, "No, you're immortal. You're not a Saiyan." But like I know she just won't get the joke, and it kills me inside. It just genuinely bothers me because I want to tell the joke so bad.
You gotta just go for it, buddy. You gotta just
She's
go
not.
for it.
It's gonna go over like a wet fart. It's gonna go over like what? But it's just like you ever have just something you want to say just burning there. You're just like,
Yep.
but it's not gonna make sense. So I feel
I
like
just say it,
I'm gonna wait till like I'm in the room full of people would get. And I'm gonna say it, and that's gonna be hilarious.
and then everyone's gonna laugh, and
Yes.
then it's gonna go over a little better. Yeah, I got
Yeah, comedic timing.
you. Yeah.
So I know I've been soft tossing you some meatballs here. Do you have anything you wanted to discuss on the show, sir?
Um, I don't know. I gotta bring up that Gotham Knights looks like a turd.
Dude, I'm out on that game. Yeah, I'll wait
Did you
for a
see the
sale. I haven't watched a trailer on it, but when I heard Gotham Knights and when I heard of the premise, I'm like, out. But
they
you
re-
beat me Montreal.
they keep releasing gameplay and stuff, and it looks awful. And I don't know at what point you get your marketing team is just like, we're not showing anything else off, because they partner with IGN. IGN has their stupid
IGN
fucking
first.
first
Yeah.
initiative or whatever, and they showed off this Harley Quinn boss fight. And dude, I'm telling you, it looks like a game straight out of 2008.
Oh
It looks
no.
so bad, and I'm like, what are we doing here? You know, like,
I agree.
you're giving me Nightwing, who is one of the coolest comic book characters of all time, just reeks of style.
Yes.
Red Hood, same thing. Robin, same thing. Batgirl, arguable. All right. So you got 3 out of 4 people on the team who are just absolute
Yeah.
cannons, right? And then you fuck it up. You're fucking it up, and I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Well, that happens when you're WB Montreal, and I'm sorry, I just never liked that developer. I wasn't an Arkham Origins guy.
I wasn't either. I
Yeah,
was
I
not.
thought the game sucked.
I mean, I didn't think it sucked. I still beat it and had like an okay time with it, but I was like, man, why are we telling another Joker story? Why does it always come back to the Joker?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, how do you feel about Suicide Squad? Like, now that we're on the
I'm
topic of
out.
DC stuff, like, because Rocksteady, is putting that out, and I haven't watched
I'm
any
out.
trailers. I don't want to watch a trailer. I just want to get the game in my hands, but I don't. I'm also not there day one. I'm in this I'm in this weird phase where I'm very rarely going to be there day one for anything.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about the Suicide Squad.
That's how
The
I
only
am.
reason anyone cared about that Suicide Squad movie was because Harley Quinn was in it. And it was Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn. Hey, everyone, I hate to tell you. If it was an ugly chick that played Harley Quinn in that movie, no one would give a fuck about Harley Quinn. It was
I'll even give
because
you
it
a
was
better take.
Margot
She's not a
Robbie.
strong enough character to carry a movie. I'll say it.
I agree.
I'll
I
say it.
agree. Yep. Harley Quinn, not a good character. Margot Robbie, extremely hot.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, it's funny that like the Batman animated series was so good that it like that's where like they say they like basically created Harley Quinn out of it. They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
they did.
people love Harley Quinn.
Yep. And now Harley Quinn's like a super popular character, and it's like, you guys don't know anything about Harley Quinn. And it's weird because in this um in this trailer they show for Gotham Knights, like, they're clearly going for a specific like timeline in Harley Quinn that
Hmm.
hasn't been shown in forever, when Harley Quinn's like this still super villain, like evil person.
Yeah,
And I'm like, people aren't gonna get this. It's not like a good look, like good design for Harley Quinn. It looks awful. It's just her swinging her hammer around and Nightwing dodging and counterattacking. That's the entire boss fight, and I'm like, I can't. This is the one of the worst gameplay reveals I've ever seen.
yeah. I like I said, I've been on a media blackout for it just because I don't want to see anything because I and now when I watch gameplay video like I don't have mixed feelings. I go either I'm in or I'm out, and I really don't want to see it and be like I'm out because I've been I've been in the mood for a good DC game. Like like besides Injustice and Batman, we don't really get good ones, and I just feel like the only studio I trust besides NetherRealm to make a good DC game is Rocksteady because they've done it before. So I'm a little nervous about Gotham Knights or not Gotham Knights, about Suicide Squad, just because I can't take I can't take any more DC L's, man. I just can't take any more L's.
I will say one thing is that the Suicide Squad gameplay looks pretty similar to Guardians of the Galaxy,
Okay.
and that's a good thing. Guardians of the Galaxy played really good.
Yeah, I played like the first couple chapters of it, and not even couple, like first chapter. I enjoyed it. I gotta go back to that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So if it's like as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, I could live with it. But if it's a turd, I just can't. Like,
If it plays really good and the emphasis is on gameplay, I think it'll be fine. But my problem is I think they're going to be trying to tell like a really deep story,
yeah,
and it's just not going to go over well. Also, that design for I'm watching the gameplay trailer right now. That design for Harley Quinn is atrocious. I
I
mean,
just, I don't
why
know.
are why are we trying to make all our female game characters ugly as shit? I just don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe there's some like, as a certain podcaster says, some pink hair in the writers' room
That's
syndrome going
definitely
on.
exactly what it is. The
But
pink hair in the writer's room.
yeah. So maybe that's probably big component of that.
Yep.
So moving on, I have another gripe. I got to get off
Okay.
my chest.
Okay. Throwing
So
some shade.
our boy, well, not our boy specifically, one of my favorite game, I guess, developers, producers of all time, Hideo Kojima. I've got some beef with him.
Okay. I love it.
So as you as you know, in Spider-Man, they say with great power comes what?
Great responsibility.
Right. So
Yes.
that would mean you got to know what you're doing here.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You
Okay.
got to know what you're doing. But our boy Hideo here, he likes
Uh
to,
oh.
I feel like,
What are you
abuse
telling me?
some of that power. I feel like he likes to do some things that like he's one of very few people who could just break the internet.
Okay.
And
What did he do this time?
the reason I say this is on his Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna send you a photo of it.
On what? Facebook?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a photo of this because he can't post this. You can't do this, Hideo, because it's gonna create. And I'm surprised it hasn't yet. Maybe people haven't noticed, or I'm looking too deeply into it. You can't post something like this, Hideo, because what are people?
What an asshole.
What does that look like to you, Seth?
That looks like a Metal Gear.
Yeah, like you can't do that. You
No.
cannot do that. There are certain lines in gaming you can't cross. You can't post a photo of a Metal Gear. If you're Square, you can't tweet Chrono anything.
That's right. Because
you,
I'll
you you
actually have a meltdown.
you can't use the word Chrono.
Nope.
Like so there are certain things like if you're Valve, you can't use the words Half Life and or 3 in any sort of relation anywhere close in a sentence.
Right.
Like
If Valve tweeted out just the number 3, the internet would have a meltdown.
yeah, you cannot do this shit. And and here's my problem with Hideo here. He knows what he's doing. He's
Oh yeah, he
famously
loves playing
very
mind games.
campy. Yeah, he likes the mind games. So, the stuff with Hassan Karman, right? Like where people were unwinding the threads and all that, and Hideo played very coy. Turns out, I mean, it turns out, I'm in the opinion there's nothing there.
I
Big
agree.
big fucking scheme.
Did
But
you
if it
listen to
turns
his interview with Colin?
no, I've been waiting. I heard Colin really comes at him.
Oh yeah, he rips him apart.
Yeah. So, but imagine if Colin was in on it.
Oh my god. Colin Moriarty's never been on anything.
But like, you could see him doing that. I could see
Yeah.
him doing it. Like the long con. Like I could just
Yeah.
feel it. But yeah. So like, you can't just fucking post a photo because people are dying for a Metal Gear remake. People, it's weird because like he's a guy who can't like escape that series. Like people just want him to make Metal Gear, and he doesn't want to make Metal Gear, or he claims he doesn't want to make Metal Gear. But then you post a fucking photo of what appears to be Metal Gear Rex, and because that's the one we want. We want the Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. That's what we want. And you can't. You just can't do it. Cannot happen. Not allowed. Like, and it just infuriates me because, like, if you have the power to break the internet, you got to use that shit responsibly. Thoughts, sir?
I famously don't like Hideo Kojima. I think he's a hack. So I feel like my opinions are going to be a little um, biased, but I think this is what he's most well known for is his like mind games with stuff. Um, and I just don't think there's anything that special about Metal Gear other than the weird relevance it has today.
It's fucking eerie.
I don't know that a publisher would want to take on a Metal Gear remake because it's going to seem extremely political to people who haven't played the first one and realize that it's like, oh, this is actually like what they said in what was it, 99 when that game came
Yeah.
out? They're like, oh, this is actually what it said in 99. No, people are going to be like, oh, wow, this is like a really annoying political game. I don't know. It's very relevant today.
So does that ever just creep you out how accurate he is with some of the shit he says in games?
He might he may have been like super lucky with what he's done, or he might be extremely intelligent and just be could have seen this stuff coming from a mile away. Because maybe he's like a conspiracy theorist. Maybe Hideo Kojima is like a giant conspiracy theorist. Who knows? I don't know.
Well,
Because it turns out like the conspiracy theorists were right back in the day when they were like, oh, the government's seizing power. It's like,
but
well,
he's starting a podcast soon.
I heard that.
Yeah, so I'm
That's
definitely
pretty
gonna
sweet.
listen to that. But it's eerie with him because he's been right on just so many weird shit. Like, so in Metal Gear Solid 1, the themes there. Metal Gear Solid 2, where like the government's controlling information, and it's the beginning of the digital age, and digital footprints and all this other shit. Like everything's digitalized, and you look at today, you're like, you play that game today, you're like, what the fuck, man? Where like you and I will talk about something, right, and then like we'll get ads about it.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's fucking that's wild. And you play then you play a game like Death Stranding, and it's all about like the world's in isolation and all this other crazy shit, and then fucking COVID hits, like,
Yep.
and so you're like reconnecting the fucking country, and meanwhile you're playing this game while in isolation. I remember because I didn't play Death Stranding right when it came out. I waited, and I'm sitting there playing it when everything was shut down, and my mind's like fucking fried. I'm like, what the fuck? Like how the A- and so it just blows my mind that somebody has the ability to just kind of hit stuff right on the nose, and I'm like, how? Like, how does this man do this? So I don't know. He might either, you're right. He might either be like, really lucky, really intelligent, or a fucking terrorist.
Or maybe he's a time traveler.
Dude, what if he is a time traveler?
Hideo Kojima was a time traveler, and Hassan Karaman was who he used to be.
Yeah, it's just it blows my mind, but I agree. When these studios and these personalities that are attached to these studios, you got to tweet responsibly. You got to post
Yes.
responsibly,
Yes.
because if you get me into the hype, if you give me hope and then take it away, I'm gonna be quite upset. I'm gonna be
Forever
quite
angry.
upset.
Yeah.
So, do you have an example of when this happened to you? When you saw something and you got real excited, then you realized you've been had.
Yeah. When Square Enix revealed their Final Fantasy 13 2 DLC,
Uh huh.
that was called Chrono something,
Ooh, I remember this.
and I had like a fucking meltdown when I realized it was 13.2 DLC. I was like, "Are you guys fucking serious right now? Like, you can't do this. We've been waiting for something for the Chrono series for 20 years, and you just announce a DLC for 13.2 with the title Chrono in it. Ah, disgusting, disgusting.
How does it make you feel that you've been waiting that long, and then now you get life in the Chrono series and they fuck it up?
Empty. Emptiness. Um,
Just this fucking void where like this fucking
yeah, I don't
fat
know
L. Oh man.
because it was weird with the Radical Dreamers edition because they weren't adding anything to the series. They weren't really. I mean, they did some visual upgrades, but it wasn't anything that you couldn't do with an emulator. Um, so I wasn't really excited for it because I felt like I'd already played the best that game could give me. So I wasn't really excited for the Radical Dreamers edition. And when it came out and it was a failure, I was like, all right, well, I can still just emulate this to the best results possible, or I can play it on my PS3. Like if they had announced a sequel and the sequel came out and it was terrible, that would have broken
Oh
me a lot more. Or a Chrono Trigger like remake, and that was terrible. That would have broke me. But
yeah.
like a Chrono, like the Radical Dreamers edition, it wasn't really anything except for them just porting the game to like PC and PS4. That's all it really was.
Yeah, they're not. And here's the thing. Like, I know, I said it before earlier. I just don't know how fucking Square manages to come up every show. It's like we're fucking sick. It's like we're sick. But
We can't stop obsessing over them.
yeah. But like they've managed to. Like, we've said this before, I think, on this show. But like they've managed to fuck up some like really important ports. Like Secret of Mana, they fucked up, and then
Yes,
like
they did.
Chrono Trigger, they fucked up. So or
Yes.
not Chrono or Chrono Cross, which is
Well, no,
strange.
they did. They did fuck up the Chrono Trigger port on PS1. Remember
I
with
did.
with
Yeah,
the
I remember that they did fuck that up.
the
Um,
45-second loading
yeah,
time has
and
been
they fucked up the
bad.
like they fucked up porting this shit to phones, like the phone versions of some of these remakes, and like
Yep.
with like some of the original stuff, and then like they also fucked up the Dragon Quest stuff too. Like those are really weird ports. So they've had a few fuck ups, but they're not the only company that's done this. Like I love Atlas, but they fucked up that Nocturne port. They fucked it up.
Did they? I didn't hear anything bad about it.
It was well, okay. Let me put it in perspective. They fucked up the Switch version, and like that's or someone fucked up the Switch version. I haven't played it on PS4, but like the Switch version's fucked up. Like
Why?
the amount of times it crashed on me,
Oh,
like I think it was like maybe 4 times it crashed on me, and like Nocturne's a hard game. Like you don't crash Nocturne. Like you don't just crash. You don't
yeah.
you
You
know
lose 2 hours of save
yeah
progress.
progress. Yeah. And I 100%ed Nocturne, so I fucking played the shit out of it in there. I was in
Hmm.
there, like and of course, did I talk about it on this show? What they did with that Nocturne DLC, like what they did to the guy, what they did to a guy?
Oh yeah, with Dante, they took him out
Yeah,
of the game and added him as DLC. Yeah,
yeah. I'm
it's
like,
messed up.
so what they did was either you get Dante, you could pay to get Dante, or they stick you with fucking Raido Kusa. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, who
Because
in their right
Dante was in
minds?
the original game. Like you can't
Right.
just do that.
Like, who in their right mind's picking? Oh, I want Raido. I remember fucking having Raido Kusanagi. No, you don't. You remember Dante. Everyone remembers fucking Dante, and you're gonna charge me. It was like 20. It was like I think $10 or $15 for that.
Yep.
And I remember that. So, but like Atlas, weirdly, like I feel personally they fucked that port up, and maybe it's just me playing the Switch version, but I feel like the Switch should be able to run Nocturne and be fine. Um, but in another game they fucked up. I thought was SMT5. I thought they fucked up where
Why?
it got good reviews, but it runs like fucking steamy dog shit. Like I just don't want to play it. Like I wish like there was like a PC version, or I'm like just fucking port the game to PS5. Like what the fuck are we doing here? And that's sad because I love my Switch. I love the Nintendo Switch. Love it to death. But when you fuck up SMT games because the frame rate's ass because they want to make it an open world game, but your little itty bitty fucking baby hand console can't fucking handle it, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where I am very nervous, and like we talked about it earlier, and I hate to rehash a topic, but I am really nervous about like game companies just fucking games up that like you can't fuck up. And like I know I'm in the minority about SMT5. I might even be in the minority about Nocturne, but to me, one of the worst things a company can do is leave a sour taste in your mouth. because now look at companies like you no longer trust. Like I no longer trust TriAce. Like they fucked me on Star Ocean hard, and then they fucked us on Residents of Fate, but they really fucked us on fucking Star Ocean. Like they
For
royally fucked that game in.
no reason for Star Ocean to be a bad game. Star Ocean has a really interesting premise, a really
Hmm.
cool design, but for some reason they keep fucking it up.
I
I don't
think they're gonna fuck
understand.
up this new one. I think this new one's fucked.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, how do you like? Are you doing this on purpose? Like, are you like, like what's going on over here?
Just give us shit games on purpose, just to
Yeah, like
tank a
let's just,
franchise.
like this. I mean, it's not like a super popular series, but like it's well liked. Like let's take this series, fuck it up, fuck this series.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
So,
what they're doing. I don't know.
oh man. So, in wrapping up, sir, do you have anything else you would like to discuss? Anything you want to throw out there before we get put this baby to
I
bed?
don't think so. I think we've got all our gripes out there in the open.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think definitely, definitely some things that we discussed that I enjoyed, and I want to bring awareness to certain things, and that's why I will keep harping on the fucking retro gaming community every chance I fucking get.
Just
I
break
want
them
the
down.
I want these motherfuckers on Front Street. I'm gonna call it out. Like I'm sick of just pretending like this doesn't happen. Like a
Yeah.
lot we talk about a lot of shit in mainstream gaming where like PS5 got a price increase.
Hmm.
Side note, I'm watching the Gotham Knights trailer right now, and what? Ugh. Uh, so we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, like so, PS5 getting a price increase and shit like that, and but I feel like the stuff that goes on in the retro gaming community and collecting community is fucking criminal
Yes.
to me. So it's like some of these people deserve to be in jail.
I
So
think you've gotten me in on the Ghost of Tsushima. I think
yeah,
that's the game I'm gonna play in between the trails.
attaboy,
So, yep,
attaboy.
yep,
Well, as as always, you can find us on the gram. We're not on Twitter because I don't hate my life that much. So we're on the gram at Alpha Nerds underscore Prime. You
yep,
can find us there. You could subscribe to the blog at the Filler Arc at .wordpress and follow us on Facebook. Give us a follow. Give us a comment on the tube of you.
yep.
I'll if we get to 100 views, I'll start an OnlyFans. I'm there. What's up?
All right, I'll
Yeah.
do it with you.
Yeah, let's get these views up. Comment on, leave us some comments. Make fun of us. Do something. Interact with us. Give us attention. We need fucking attention.
Yes,
Uh, oh god, I hate myself. But that's our show. Tune in next time. Keep an eye out for our Kaseki cast coming up very soon. I'm very excited about
absolutely,
that. All right.
absolutely.
So and remember, square up, throw down.
That's right. Square up, throw down. You know what, dude?